Welcome to our YouTube channel, Emanzi Business Marketing Agency. Thank you for viewing us. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for supporting us. I want to take this opportunity to thank Serena Hotels. Thank you for for believing in us. Thank you for taking care of our needs. All the time we need you available. We're grateful for that. I hope you're taking care of yourselves, washing hands, sanitizing, because we need to beat this COVID so that we still have a lot to look forward to. Today, well, it's a bit different. I am so happy I'm giving you a sneak peek in my life. Sometimes I look out for these trainings to know what to do with life and how to make life better. And I happened to land on a training today. It's about it's like a farming training, how to grow hot pepper chili and okra. Who knew that you can mint so much money from okra and chili? Some of us have, I think of maize, think of coffee, but now chili and okra. And it's so productive and lucrative, and people are happy about it. The demand is so high, and literally people are begging people to plant chili and to plant okra. So for you, this is the time. We don't have so much to do with our jobs. The period is quite tough, but at least some of us have gardens, and we don't know what to do with our gardens. Others can hire the gardens, but there's something that we have just known today, that what we took for granted, chili, you pass chili in a market, a kilo is 2,000, but on the international market, it's speaking money. This training today has really opened my eyes that anything is possible. So we're taking you through it, from how to plant and how to take it to the market. The market is already there. Your job is just to plant and bring it here, and they give you money. How good can things get when you don't have to call and beg people to buy your chili, but the market is there, the demand is extremely high, they don't know what to do. So we're at River Fresh. It's a company that coordinates outgrowers and connects them to the international market. I'm going to introduce to you the productions manager. He's called Jimmy.
At River Fresh, we are doing mainly supply of fresh foods to both local and international markets. We are also doing extension services to various farmers across Uganda. And we also do supply. Like I said, we do supply of local and international markets. We do consultants, that's extension, and then we also do production. Yeah, we produce some bit of this. So under the supply, all our crops or export produce, about 80% we get from outgrowers. So that means that we are only producing about 20% on our own. The other parts are coming from outgrowers. So what do I mean? It means that there's a big platform for farmers that we normally encourage them to grow these crops, so that the supply chain should be maintained, and we should be able to maintain the orders. We are exporting about 4 tons per week by volume to different parts of the world. We go to Asia, that is Maldives. We are going to UK. We are going to France and Belgium. We do weekly. Actually, our next consignment is on Sunday. Yeah, that's why you're seeing these boxes are already packed here. Oh. Yeah, the market is available. Yeah, though farmers are still taking time to understand that there is always a market for some specific produce that we call them what? High-value crops, majorly in the horticultural sector, the fruits and vegetables. So they are high value in a way that, yes, we have, some people are also ignorant about the knowledge. We are trying to do a campaign, especially online. That's why it has gathered us here today because of the online campaigns. We make sure that at least farmers, they get to know this. Then another thing is, it's not only about growing the crops, but it is also about the quality. If you have been hearing in media of recent, there has been a lot of quality issues on Uganda's produce. So what does it mean? We the stakeholders on ground, we have to make sure that we train the farmers from day one in order to get good quality products. And this quality, we make it from the garden during the production process. It is not made when it is already here. Like now, we have this sample of these crops here. This is what we call what? The hot pepper. Yeah, this is a hot pepper, and then the chili is the other. I will show you. So what does it mean? If hot pepper is already harvested when it's in bad quality, here, there's nothing much we can do about it, apart from sorting it out. And it is the farmer who will lose. So the reason why we must train the farmer, so that he produces good quality hot pepper from the day one. From the nursery, he makes sure that he harvests them without chemical residues. In Europe, when you take your things there, if we the exporters, we export, what will happen? They will take samples and take to the lab before releasing it to enter in the country. It's not like other places where you just go to the market and buy anything, even if there are white residues of mangoes on tomatoes. You just buy and eat or wash away. But in Europe, they will first do the test. If it doesn't qualify, it will not enter. So this is the only time that we have to work hand in hand with the farmers. We make sure that they produce good quality fruits and vegetables. Yeah. So that's the reason why we have come for this training. Once again, we are going to start straight away. I told you I'm by name Zawan Jimmy, head of production and agronomy. And we work as a team. Each one of them, you will come to know them much better if they come on the floor. But for now, let's start straight away. Other people will get us on the way. So let's get this. Let's get copy. If you don't have this manual, eh? Yeah, you should. That's going to guide us in this discussion. I must appreciate the fact that some of us, or some of you, have been farmers before, or some of us here are doing farming at the moment. So most of these things are not new to us. But what is unique and what we really emphasize most is when you are going to produce any crop for export market, what do you need to do and what don't you need to do? The do's and the don'ts are the main emphasis. We are going to make sure that we work together. This is the first training for new people. Most people who are here are joining the fruit and vegetable farming as new. Later on, we have our production sites. We have gardens that we shall have to take them. It might not be today, but we shall arrange in a very shortest time possible. They see what we have done. We can also take them to reference gardens of some of our farmers. We have people who are supplying us, outgrowers. Can also visit them, and then we see what they are doing, how they do it. These are actually become even best teachers, even better than us. Because now they started also like babies, but now they have reached a point where they are supplying in a day 100 boxes of this. See, so I really want to encourage the new people that we should really take this seriously. There's something good we can always get out of farming that you didn't know. Some people are already tired. I'm doing this, I do this and that. It doesn't come. But you should first try this. So I'm going to start with my main discussion is going to cover hot pepper and chili production. So when we are doing hot pepper and chilies, we first raise them in nursery beds. And in nursery beds, there are two types of nurseries we use. It's fine.
I'm assuming the place of a learner, someone who's starting.
Yeah.
You need to tell us right from the seedlings what seedlings are recommended and when.
Yeah.
Before we go to the bed, the seedlings.
Okay, thank you for that question. Normally, we raise them from the seeds. We first put the seeds on the nursery bed. A nursery bed is okay. Yeah, thank you very much. It also happens to be that in our country here, the seeds for hot pepper and chilies are not commonly available in the markets. They are not commonly available. So what happens, we usually have mother gardens of existing farmers that we allow them to process seeds. If for instance, they were supplying 50 boxes in a single harvest, their production will have to reduce because they are going to propagate their plants, some of them. When they are not harvesting, they consider those ones which are healthy, which are not having any disease, pest signs and symptoms, which have viable fruits, and then we use them for seed processings. That means you cannot go to Container Village or any other agro-import dealers to go and buy these seeds. You will hardly get them. Yeah, over time, some people try to import from countries like Holland and other people who are doing this at a more advanced level. But when they come here, you realize that our local farmers cannot afford them because someone will give you 6 grams or 10 grams of seeds and tell you what to pay, like 1 million shillings. So you realize they saw that it wasn't having any financial sense to farmers, and at the moment the only things farmers do, and we recommend for them to do, we identify mother gardens. It can be from any of our existing farmers. It can be from our own farms. Then we process their seeds, and then we give out to the new farmer to start raising the nursery from there.
So are you saying that if for us who want to start, we need to just come back to the seeds? Recommended.
Yes.
Since you are the ones
Yeah. We shall recommend you to one of our farmers. Yeah. We have many farmers who are doing this. Yeah, we recommend you to one of them. And then it's basically in okra, chilies, hot pepper, and garden eggs. Garden eggs is what we commonly know as ntula. Surprisingly, the green ntula, which is also sold a lot in our local market, which we know, those ones, the seeds are available. If you go downtown, you will find them there. But the white ntula, yeah, if you have ever searched for it, you will bear me witness that you can't get them anyhow, the white ones, yeah, in shops. So that's why we recommend our gardens. We know farmers who are having good quality. And by the way, all the farmers we deal with, even you when you start farming with us, you will be visited by the Minister of Agriculture to certify your gardens, to allow you to start growing this. The inspectors will come. They come to us, even that's why my colleague has walked out. They want inspections now. They inspect our farmers every month. So right now he has gone now to handle that, because all our farmers must be inspected by the ministry every month. We give them the list of farmers and they select at random that today want to visit this one. We are not the one who tell them you go and visit this one. And when they visit, what are they looking at? Yeah, what they are looking at, what are we doing as a company to make sure that the farmer adhere to the quality standards. Remember, we were almost losing it as a country. To the EU, we were almost losing it. They were always banning Uganda from exporting any of this to Europe. So the government had to step in to do something. You get it? Government had to do something. And one of the ways they are doing it through its regulatory body of Ministry of Agriculture under the Plant Health section of ministry. They have to come down here so that they use that. Every company exporting must have agronomists who work with the ministry. And as I said earlier, quality is made from the garden. Because now when we go to Europe, Uganda as a country, they will identify that this is Uganda. Yeah, they will not talk about a company like this. It is Uganda. So the ministry, one company or 2 or 3 people should not stop the rest from what? So if you compromise in quality standards, they will close the company. They withdraw the certificates. Each time you export, you must get a certificate. Even the shipment we are doing on sand, each time you apply online, they come here and look at what we are doing. They give you the certificate that allows the goods to go. Yeah. So that in brief, that's about the quality. But still, if there is anything you need to ask, feel free, and you ask. So we are not going to talk so much about this, like the production processes and so on, because we have to do the thing practically. And I was happy, actually, my colleague told me at the beginning that, I don't like a lot of theories. That is true. But as an agriculturist, the agriculture is divided into two things. There are principles and practices. You can't run away from the other. Each one of them work hand in hand. Yeah. So in the principles, now here, these are what we are talking. We are looking at the principles of agriculture. Then now, the practices is the one which is in the field. There's no way you can just go and spray a plant without knowing what are the spraying rates. What are you mixing? In what volume? You know those things. So one has to work with the other. So basically, that's that. So when we are going to do these hot pepper and chilies, we are going to make sure that we shall have to raise them in beds first. The procedures of raising them is what? We have compiled them here. We usually we first made here a summary of the steps involved in horticultural crop production. These are the steps, land preparations, irrigations, and so on. Those are the steps. But my main emphasis and is the nursery management. There are two types of nurseries that we commonly use, and which I know if you have done farming before, you must have used one of these. These nursery type of nursery beds. The first type of nursery is what we call barefoot. These are nurseries raised on the ground. Then there's another one called containerized. Some people use containers to raise their nursery beds. Yeah. So when we are doing barefoot, which is the most commonly used, remember, a plant can have disease or not, or it can acquire disease at even the nursery stage from the soil. So in this barefoot nursery, what we do is we have to first sterilize our soils. This is something that very few people normally do. And actually, Mr. Patrick, right? Yes. You said you're doing tomatoes. How many times have you ever sterilized your nursery bed before you putting the tomato seedlings? But did you know that it can cost you a lot? Because, you see, there are some soil-borne diseases that the plant can acquire at an early stage. And we don't do soil testing. We have not checked the soil. So it is important to sterilize in a very simple way, very simple, that everyone is capable of doing it. And this is the one we normally recommend because it is not costly to the farmer, it is cheap, and it is easy to use. And this is what we are saying here, that when you are going to sterilize the soil for the nursery bed, we first we do what we call the direct heat method. You can turn on the third page. So you can see that there are steps of of establishing a barefoot nursery. So barefoot. So under barefoot, we say you sprinkle some water on the soil, on that nursery bed that you have already. Remember, you have selected the site. You have already taken the measurements. And usually for these chilies and peppers, we recommend 1 by 3 meters, and you make 5 of those beds. It will be enough to plant 1 acre. Don't again raise beds when time of transplanting comes. The seedlings are not enough. So you have to wait for another 1 month plus to raise new ones. So that's why we recommend you to do a standard on 1 by 5, 1 by 3, and you make 5 of them. It will plant you 1 acre under the recommended spacing. So usually, when you do this, sprinkle water, heap some grass, and then burn it. Burn the grass for 10 minutes. You know, I will not say this amount of grass, but just need to get some dry grass that can burn for 10 minutes. It will be able to sterilize your soil. It will kill some pathogens. It will not kill the soil, other soil organisms which are important. So when you do such, you are helping yourself from cost of buying pesticides in future or fungicides. That would do what? For example, there are many soil-borne diseases like viruses, funguses, which are always in the soil that can go through the crop roots and destroy the plants in future. So this is the time that you need to sterilize the soil through a simple way of burning it for 10 minutes. And then you can now use furrows. Many of us know have planted, if you've planted a bed before, some people prefer to broadcast the seeds on the bed. Some people prefer to use furrows. You know, you get a stick and you make you make lines on the bed, which is at least at a distance of 1 meter each. 1 centimeter each, and then you sprinkle the seeds. Make sure that the seeds are not on top of each other. And then you cover your beds and water it. After that, you can also use your grass, dry grass, to cover the bed. Until germination starts, you need to check the germination percentage. The germination percentage depends on the seeds you have used. Some seeds will not germinate well. So that's why we are saying from the sources of the seeds must really be you be careful while selecting seeds. Many farmers have lost yields because of seeds, poor quality seeds. This is also another big sector that we have in the industry, because some seeds, they already themselves are carrying diseases in them. So we really need to look at this. So another thing we are going to look at is, when we have these beds raised, there are some pests and diseases which will disturb them that we have listed for you down here. Yeah. You can see that we have these diseases, African bollworm, we have some of them in the pictures there, in our chart there. Maybe when we have a small break, someone can walk and see some of how those pests and diseases look, some of them, the effect on the plants. So these diseases, all pests, we control them. We recommend some specific pesticides for you to use. We don't just use any. In the export markets, there are chemicals that are not allowed to be used at all. But there are others which are allowed. So we only recommend those ones which are allowed. And even these ones which are allowed, we only allow them to be used at the nursery level. You know, like these fruits. A chemical which you are going to use to spray this at the fruiting level, the pesticide, cannot be the same as the one you have used when the plant was still flowering. Do you know why? Some of these pesticides take like 2 weeks on the 14 days when it's still active. So when we take our product, the other side, they will check for chemical residues and find then there are active chemicals on the fruit. And what they do is the exporter who loses, because the farmer has pocketed already his money from. Most farmers don't allow us even to give us any single credit. They bring their goods and we have to pay them off. You understand? So now, any loss after that, it becomes ours. And another challenge we face, if it was 5 farmers who have supply, and they get a problem on one box, for them they know that everything is coming from one garden. Are you seeing? We have lost several consignments because of such issues. That's why these days, our supervision processes have even tightened seriously. And it's good even the government has also stepped in to make sure that they work hand in hand with us to avoid such things. Because at the end of the day, we have to maintain the quality right from the garden, as I had said earlier on. So that is about this, about the planting the seedlings. We have to control the pests and diseases. And then what else? We have to talk about, after we have controlled this list of pests, that with time to time, whenever we come to your field and you see that, okay, I'm seeing this, I'm not understanding this pest and disease. I'm seeing some of them eat at night and they go away. You only find their what? Their effect. Eh. Some of them, you even find them there when they are present. Eh? There are those ones which are slow, you know. They will eat slowly and they fail to, especially these slugs. The snails and the slugs. They will bite your roots or the leaves of the plant, the nursery, in the nursery bed. You'll find that they are still around there. But there are those ones that will come and eat and they go away. You only find the effect. So we normally teach people, especially the ones who are managing the farm. I know most of us here, you will go into farming, but you are not the very person who is in the field. Yeah. Remember, these customers, especially the ones we supply, if I had a way even of showing you, we have received orders for Sunday, and the client is telling me, make sure you send me good quality what? Produce. That is, they will always never forget to insert a category. And if we don't do that, we lose money. And at the end of the day, if you tell a farmer, I'm going to reduce on the what? On the price of buying produce, he will say, you guys are not giving us what? So please, let's work together to do this. It is doable. Some people have done it, and it is working. That's the reason why we have maintained the market. We have started this export business in 2016, and we are still running it up to now. We normally go through some of the markets that are not really, people fear even to go to. So that is it. And now we are going to look at briefly also on another type of nursery bed called containerized. Some farmers prefer to do their nursery beds in containers. That one, yes.
Is there a particular time? Because I've not seen the time in this matter. Where you say you do it in a one season, or you do it when it's raining, or I've not seen the period.
Now.
Because there are some times when it's very humid.
Okay, usually in horticulture, we don't have time for productions. For us, we don't talk of, it is shining, we are not going to produce. We are not going to plant. We only have to make sure we plant, but we do all things possible to make sure that the plant thrives in the sunshine. Yeah. So when we are doing our nursery bed, there's this part which we talked about, like the site. We talked about the site selection. You can check on the second page, the second page down. When you are selecting a site for your nursery bed, you make sure that, number one, the site must be in a fertile land. It must be near a water source. Then don't put the nursery in a swampy area, because those soils are normally acidic. Most swamps have acidic soils that are not good for young plants or tender seedlings. Then also, you have, sorry. The one we are looking at is headed. Sorry. Oh, sorry about that. Yeah. Fred, there are some more papers inside the office. You can go and bring to those who don't have. Yeah, so I hope you got the right paper now. Yeah, it's the one we are discussing. The heading is production of chili, hot pepper, and okra. And on the second page, you remember we are putting a nursery, but where do you put a nursery bed? Even I remember when I was still a young boy, before I went to an agricultural school, or had this experience, I used to have a belief that they used to tell us, I could see my grandfather when he's putting his nursery bed, he goes under the trees where there's a shade, and he puts it there. Sometimes people go to the swamp, in the middle of the swamp. That's where they put their nursery beds. But for this chili and pepper, what we are saying is, those swampy areas, they are mostly acidic. We don't advise farmers to do what? They might have acidic soils. Their soils are acidic, and which are not good for the very young what? Tender seedlings. Acidic, yeah. So we advise the farmers to select good sites whereby Should be in a well-drained, fertile land. Yeah, the water is not logging in that area. It must also be near what? A water source where you can easily get water. Water source can be any clean water around. Yeah. Then a nursery bed shouldn't be in, that one we have talked in being in some area. Another point here is saying nursery bed should never be put under trees or hedges, just like the way my grandfather used to do. It shouldn't be done like that because the tree roots will compete with them. And it will affect the roots of those trees under which you have, it will affect their growth. Yeah. And they will compete with permanent plants. And then when you're also setting, you have to dig up to remove all the perennial weeds. There are those weeds that are always there. You have to dig up the place well, remove their roots, and so on. Yeah. So that's how you select your site, and then you make your nursery. You control the pest and disease on the seedlings. And then another thing now, we are looking at what? The second method. The second method of raising a nursery bed, we had agreed that there are two types. Barefoot, which is this land, people know, the one we have finished talking about. Now there's another method of making nurseries, that is containerized method. Here people use containers, use polythene bags. People also use crates. There are those crates which are having pots that you just fill in a planting media. Usually we recommend rock soil or pumice. And then there's what we call cocoa peat or cocoa cake. They come when they are very sterile. You just put the seeds there. You have seen outside where people are raising seedlings in this what containerized systems. These ones are much more easier to manage because they don't have a lot of issues. The plants, you can even know the number of seedlings you have because you know the number of containers which are there. So that one also is another what? Another method of the nursery. So as farmers who are new into farming, this information we are giving you is very important. Much as you are not the one who is going to, you might not be the one practically doing this. But at the end of the day, it will help you to supervise how the whole process of the farm is. It is not good to see your farm manager or your team on ground doing something wrong. And even you who is putting money in the whole project, you cannot identify or see that these people are not doing the right thing. Because later it can affect you. See, that's the reason why we call you here. And we have to give you this knowledge. You first of all be with it yourself. Then later on, you transfer it or you use it to supervise the other person who is on ground. So that is the main purpose why we call you here. And then now we are going on. We have already raised our nurseries. Remember, unless otherwise someone asks a question before I go to the next step, containing the nursery bed. If you have a question, you can also you ask, and then before I proceed to the next chapter. Because now we are going to look at how we do transplant, how do we care about them, and then that's the next step we are going to. Is there any question on that, or something that someone wants to understand much more? Maybe that I jumped or I didn't. Okay, yes.
When you say you need a well-drained place, how does it matter whether it's a slope or flat?
Okay.
I don't know whether it's topography or something.
Okay, we have not talked about the topography, but in the real sense, it has to be a flat area. Because if I can recall, we have mentioned it here, isn't it? Site selection. It must be a flat. The drainage is about the water content of the soil. Yeah, so if the soil is having a lot of water, it will log in there and it will affect the plant. Remember, plants don't need too much water, and also they don't need too little water. The water must be adequate. It must be in an adequate amount. So if any of those things are missing, you will see when the plants will begin to turn yellow on the leaves. Usually that's the most common signs. that comes on the seedlings. So that means the drainage, you just make sure that the soil is not having too much water, and also is not having too, yeah. The nursery bed, yeah, we have to water it in the evening, yeah. We don't advise watering to be done. And before you water, make sure you check the first thing, even before watering any nursery bed or any garden. First, check on the water level. You can use your hand to feel in, yeah, how is the soil is very heavy. If it is too gritty, we call it gritty, like it is molding very easily, that means the water is in the soil. But if it is too dry, you can even know that the soil is very crystalline and it's very dry. That's when you can water. It's not a must that you should always water. Yeah, because too much water can attract also some water-related issues like fungus and so on. Yeah. So we are going to look at how we transplant these seedlings. Before we transplant, the first thing is make sure land is prepared. And the procedures of the land preparation is actually the first thing here we talked about. By the time the seedlings are going to make 1 month on the bed, of course, theory has it that pepper and chilies will take 30 days or 1 month. But practically, we have seen it is usually taking 35 to 40 days. That is 1.5 months, you see. But on theory, it is there saying 30 days. Because of many factors, some of these areas, there are many factors that affect seedlings to grow quickly or slowly. So for us here, we are considering 1.5 months, meaning those ones who are going to start for the first week of September, because August is already finished. Your transplant will be done in the middle of October. That is when your seedlings will be ready. Some farmers might not want to go through that seedling process, making seedlings. Yes, we also get a way of helping. If your land is ready, we can talk and then avail you with seedlings, which we have already raised. They are there. So it depends on how the farmer wants to do it in a better way for him. And then, so transplant, we advise it to be done in the evening, when the temperatures are cool, when the plants are not going to have any shock of what? Of the sun heat. They are very tender. So you just you dig up holes. The measurements we recommend for these crops are 75 by 60. 75 from one hole to the next, 60 from one line to the other.
That is what, centimeters?
Yeah, centimeters. When you are going to transplant, our agronomists will be on ground. They will help you. We do all these things I'm talking about. We try our best to make sure we do it together. We don't just talk to you here and abandon you and the rest of the stories are yours. We work with you hand in hand. Eh? Yeah. Because, this thing is a win-win. We also need a product from you.
No, but if we make, other than making 75, we can make 60 by 60.
Yes, it will come. There's what we call high-density planting. But the reason why we are recommending 75 by 60, because, at the end of this training, there's that, what if you sow that pepper? We have talked about the cost-benefit analysis. How much you are going to put in the project? How much do you expect? So under that 75 by 60, we have managed to come up with that projection or experience of the total number of plants in the garden. You must know. Yeah. Yeah, but I'm also telling you it is not true. The more they become squeezed, the less productive they become. Because they will compete for nutrients. They will compete for space. They will compete for water. You get it? So you have to make sure that the planting must be in good standards. And it also affects us, it also helps us in getting the best quality, the bulb sizes. You realize that this farmer here has hot peppers of this size. But another farmer will bring the same hot pepper, same seed from the same farm, same everything, which is bigger. And the market wants bigger sizes. They don't want too small. They want bigger size. So under that recommendation of the spacing, it will help. You will come up with actually around 7,000 plants in your garden in 1 acre.
70,000. And if I made
Yeah.
60 by 60, I'll come up with more
Around 60, okay, we have not planted 60 by 60, but if I can tell you, it will be around 8,000 to 9,000, around there, because the difference is very small. Yeah. You will have more plants, and the quality will not be the same. Yeah. And remember, the other one will have bigger sizes, even the weight, just making, each box here we weigh 4.5 kilos. Actually, it is 4 kilos because the 0.5 is the weight of the 0.5 is the weight of the box. We pay you for 4 kilos. The other 0.5 is the weight of this box. Yeah, you get, yeah. So you space it well. You put the basal, there's what we call basal fertilizers. These are alternative, we call them macronutrients. They are needed by the plants in larger amounts during planting. Even like in tomatoes that you did. These ones like the DAP, the NPKs, we put them at the beginning. Later on, we only advise or recommend depending on the needs of the plant. If we see that they are lacking some nutrients, they will show. Plants are like animals. If they are lacking something, if a baby is sick, you will see the symptoms. Even when a plant is lacking any nutrient, it will show on the leaves, or it will show in any other plant part that we can be able to identify. So through the other process we talked about the other time of scouting, it will always help you to identify such a thing early enough. Yeah. Your farm attendant, your farm manager, or any person on ground, we always give them those basic knowledge to do these things before even we come ourselves. It's good, most of you here, we are now in the modern world. Someone can even just take a photo and send to us on WhatsApp that, I'm having this problem. Even without coming to your place, we can be able to settle some of these things. Yeah. So, still we were talking about the transplant. We said when we are going to be transplanting, we measure that. We use planting ropes that we design them and make sure that the plants are uniform. They are in same lines. For us to achieve the recommended number, we make sure that we are looking at 7,000 plants. We had issues in the past whereby a farmer will tell you, you told me that I'm going to have 7,000 plants, but I have only 4,000. Why? But you realize his land size is not 1 acre. You see, that is actually the biggest challenge that farmers have is because the truth is we don't do land survey, but we can give a better estimate. Because an acre is 4,000 square meters. Some people say 4,100, but now we take an average of 4,000 square meters. So before even you talk about anything, make sure that you know the size of your land. We can even take measurements and then we calculate the area and then we get the land size and then we'll be able to know that, okay, the total number of plants that will go in this land will be this. So that you can project and know that if I do everything right the way it is recommended, this is what I will come up with later on. So we use that spacing, and then we transplant in the evening when it's cool. It is not a must that we have to transplant everything in 1 day. If we have planned transplant today and the labor has not been enough, we can finish the next day, but still in the evening. Trust me if you have ever done this. If you transplant in the morning and transplant in the evening, more seedlings will die than the one you transplant in the morning. More will die compared to the one you transplanted in the evening. Yeah. Yeah. Because this one will immediately get hit by the sun. Remember, the roots are not yet sucking anything. Yeah. So please, we need to really follow this. And when we transplanted, they are now, we start caring for the plants. Caring is... Yeah.
Is there a recommended pH for the soils, like the ones you're transparent? Remember now they're coming out of the bed where they are more careful. What about
Okay. We don't really look at only the pH. Actually, if we are to look at the pH, we should do that even before even, let's say, going into the farming, the whole thing.
Yes.
Like doing the soil testings.
The testing.
Yeah. But actually what we do, we normally first go and visit your site also. Yeah, like we see your land. We also ask you about the history of the land. What have you been growing there? Because some of these activities, like soil testings and so on, they can be a little bit expensive to the farmer. We can recommend it, but whatsoever we can identify. Yes, but what I'm trying to explain is that professionally we have to do it. Though what we normally do and what we have been doing is that we have to look at the soil. We can also look do the assessments on ground, and we can be able to know that pepper or chili will grow here or not. Yeah. Normally, what most is the most important thing is we look at the soil texture, the topography of the place, because topography will definitely affect whether there will be erosion or not. I remember one time we planted some pepper in Mitiana, and we never knew that that place could have a very serious erosion. And rain was too heavy, it came and washed away all the seedlings when we had just transplanted. And you can see all the hurdles we had to go to raise again new plants for the next 40 days. And this is time wasting. Yeah, so we don't want such mistakes to happen again. So that's why we have to do the assessment, make sure the land is flat. And if the land is not flat, what can we do? We can now, these days we can do ridges. You know, ridges are soil heaps that runs across the slope to avoid running water from destroying the crops. Yeah. So those are the things. But concerning the pH, actually pepper grows basically in a slightly alkaline soil, though it should not be too alkaline. The soil has to be neutral a little bit. Sorry?
Which areas?
Okay, the only way you can, acidic soils are always waterlogged, found in waterlogged area, in swamps. Not all swamps, but there are some swampy areas that have good flow of water. But the ones which are waterlogged will be acidic. Yeah. So what we normally consider is that farmers should make sure that the drainage of their soil is very, very well. Yeah. Whether you can do production in a swamp, we actually recommend, even right now that we are going to the dry season, we are recommending those who have lowlands should be the one, because not every farmer can afford irrigation. But if you have a lowland, we can make sure that we organize the land well, you dig well, you create drainage channels or overflows, so that even if it rains, water is not too much. But to help during the dry season, those water flows, we can close them again during the hot weathers, so that at least the available water is used up by the plant. Yeah, so that is what we are doing. And we also look at the soil texture, the soil aeration. We have partnered with some soil scientists at the moment. There are some soil scientists that we work with them. They have developed anorganic matter, which is out of worms. So we have also tested and seen that they are very good. And it also helps in propagating water in the soil during the hot seasons. Yeah. So those ones, we also partner with other people in the whole project. We don't work alone. As long as we know that your product is good for us, for our farmers, we definitely recommend the farmers to start using them. And we have seen some of them really working very well. So those soil casts, which are made of worms, they are working well for farmers. They are organic, total organic, and it is also cost effective. It's not very expensive. I think they are selling a bag at around 50,000. and around 4 bags are enough. But it will cost you the hassles of losing all your production or something else. So that is about the. Yeah, because we usually, the application rate, we apply like 2 handfuls per hole. We apply per hole. We are not applying in the whole. I mean, we measure 2 handfuls of the worm cast in each hole of the where you've planted the chili or pepper. Okay, 2 handfuls. That is about can be around 10 grams. 2 handfuls of that can. Okay, I'll be honest, I'm not very sure of the weight, but the application rate we have been using is, because you can't measure each plant what you're applying, so we just put 2 handfuls in one hole of the what? Of the hole we are planting the chilies, or we have put in pepper. And that one is during the what? The planting time. It will help to, first of all, improve on the soil texture, the organic matter, and also it will help in preserving the water. Yeah. It helps the plant to preserve water. You have a question?
Is it prior, because I see something like can application to first put fertilization?
Yeah.
Is it done concurrently?
Okay. Yes. You can do them concurrently. Yeah. Yeah. Because usually DAP and can, you are applying at a rate of 6 grams per plant. And usually 6 grams, if you go down in the village, maybe a farmer doesn't have a weighing scale that measures a gram. So we normally recommend a bottle top head. That one gives you about 5 to 6. It will give you, the metallic, the bottle top, yeah. It will be able to make that weight. So you apply per hole. And with DAP, you have to be careful because it is phytotoxic. It can burn the plants. So you first put the fertilizer, you cover with slight soil, then you put the plant. Then the other organic nutrient is not phytotoxic. It can be the last for you to put on. And then you cover up the hole after putting that. So weeding must be done immediately after weeds emerges. From the time of transplanting to the first harvest, it will take around 2 months, and we expect you to weed at least 3 times within that range, depending on how the emergency is. Because during rainy days like right now, weeds are very common. But during the dry season, the weeds also, the occurrence is not, they don't come very quickly. So each time a weed emerges, we have to weed the garden, care for the garden, just the way we started. We must make sure the garden is clean. There are no debris, weeds, because weeds are the one hosting. Some of the weeds are host plants. And you should also make a scouting plan, do scouting, identify the problems in the field, and then take an action. Yeah. So when you are scouting and you have already gotten pests, like for example aphids, an aphid is one of the insect pests in crop production that multiplies them very quickly, and it's also one of the most common. That's why it's very common in gardens. Unfortunately, I don't know the Luganda name for aphids, but it's one of they're always green. If you get one, that very one will produce that same day, however small it is. For them, they do produce almost on a daily. So, and good enough, they are very easy because they don't fly. Actually, this pest, if you have identified they are there through your scouting report, now you can know whether what is their lifestyle. Do they fly away or not? If they are the ones that fly, like the fruit fly, like the leaf miners, that fly away, like the fruit fly, we encourage you to use a chemical, the pesticide, which is, we call it systemic. It means when you spray, it will be absorbed in the plant system. So even if that insect comes back tomorrow, it will still eat and die. So those flying insects that are insect pests, we normally encourage systemic pesticides. Systemic, they are absorbed in the plant systems. They are mostly common in the market. But one thing also, as a farmer, you should be careful about at the moment is there are also a lot of counterfeits around. Yeah. Sometimes the chemicals you're buying, they will not perform the intended purpose because they are not genuine. So you must buy at least from genuine genuine dealers that will give you the right thing. You might say, I sprayed, I tried, I did this, but it didn't work. Maybe some of the chemical is not genuine. So we should apply the good ones that can help. So basically, that's how we have to manage the pests and diseases. If it's a flying insect, we use systemic. The ones which don't fly, which you get there, you can use contact, a contact pesticide, because the moment it comes in contact, the simplest contact insecticide that we have most of us have used always is what? A mosquito spray. The moment it gets in contact with mosquito, it will die. Yeah. It has to what we call the knockdown effect. The moment it gets the insect, it knocks it down immediately. But the insect, the ones which fly, it will go away, come tomorrow, eat again, go away. So that one you use systemic. That chemical will be absorbed in the plant system so that the insect can come back anytime. And most of them stay even up to 14 days. Now again, contrary to our quality standards and requirements, those systemic, we avoid to use them during harvest time. You get it? The concept again. The reason is, you imagine, now like this farmer here, we have given an order already. The one who's going to, we have ordered from 2 farmers who are going to bring us pepper. For what? For this consignment over the weekend. Now that means, why have we done that? Not because we don't have other farmers. Maybe the other ones have sprayed their gardens, maybe in the last 1 week. You get the point. So that means most of if the person has sprayed his garden with a systemic insect that is going to break down like in 14 days, then there's what we call pre-harvest interval. If it falls within the pre-harvest interval, if it compromises, we don't allow the farmer to harvest that garden, because they will go and check, and then they will, they will go and get the chemical residue still active on the fruit, because it is absorbed within the fruit systems, the plant system. The fruit also takes it up. If you have we have chemicals, pesticides that even have 0 days. We have those who have 1 day, and it breaks down. We have those who have 2 days, 1 week, 14 days, like that. So during the harvest, we will give you. We are the one who recommend the list of what to use. You must use that, because we have to look at 2 things now. You must also not allow your fruits to rot on the plant. You must harvest and take for sales, but at the same time, you must also respect the standard qualities, standard requirements. So these are very important information for new farmers who are coming into the export industry. Because the reason over the past, many come with a lot of expectations. Everybody, thank you. I'm called Jimmy Awang. I'm an agronomist, and as well as the head of production department at River Fresh Company Limited. We are exporters of fresh fruits and vegetables to the European Union. We also supply local markets and other regional markets here, like currently we are taking fruits and veggies to Tanzania and also South Sudan. So basically, we do supplies, local and international markets. And then we also offer extension services to farmers. We also do our own productions. So I'll be glad to introduce to you today a new venture that most people have not had time to know, and that is pepper, chilies, and okra. These are high-value crops that somebody can make money when they have grown it even in a small area. Only what's important is that we have to supervise you and make sure you come with the quality in order to meet the market standards. We are located in Chengera town on the old Masaka Road next to the flyover. And my contacts or our company contacts is 0783192527. We shall be glad to work with you farmers. Those who want to learn how to grow these crops, you can contact us, and then we train you, and then you begin straight away, and you begin to be part of the supply chain of the fresh foods markets. Thank you very much.